From 2001 to 2005, a grand jury was impaneled to investigate the Clinton Foundation in lieu of a number of world governments that had donated mass sums of money to it. From 2001 to 2003, however, none of these so-called donations had been declared, and when the investigators were confronted with this fact, the entire investigation was redirected with the appointment of none other than James Comey as its chairman. At this precise moment, a woman by the name of Lois Lerner was transferred into the IRS to run its tax exemption branch. It should also be noted here that during this same period, one Rod Rosenstein was the Assistant Attorney General of the United States, and his close associate, Robert Mueller, was the Director of the FBI. All four were either briefed or frontline investigators in the Clinton Foundation fraud, and all four of these deep state operatives are at the forefront of the process to impeach Trump, which, for all intents and purposes, is an impeachment of what little political power woke white Americans still have left. Let us move to 2009. James Comey has just left the Justice Department for a top position at Lockheed Martin, while Hillary Clinton is running the State Department and other key governmental business off her own email server. At this point, the Uranium One issue comes to Hillary's attention. Against all logic, she quickly approves the sale of nearly 1/4 of all U.S. refined uranium reserves to none other than Russia. 1 week prior to the sale, Bill Clinton was dispatched to Moscow, gave a 1-hour speech for a cool $500,000, then spent the entire day with Vladimir Putin at his home, ostensibly to discuss things. It must be noted here that the FBI had a mole within the money laundering and bribery scheme that the Clintons were conducting. Despite this, FBI Director Robert Mueller coordinated the delivery of the first uranium sample to Moscow in early 2009. The man who oversaw all of this back at the Department of Justice was Rod Rosenstein. So, what happened to the planted informant? An official gag order was placed on him, and key intel about the Clinton Foundation and the Uranium One deal sank into the swamp. Once the sale to Russia was completed, some $150 million in donations entered the books of the Clinton Foundation. This was immediately sanctioned by Lois Lerner at the IRS. It is now 2015. Due to a series of bizarre and tragic events in Benghazi, a number of investigations, the last of which was chaired by Trey Gowdy, discovered that Hillary Clinton had run the State Department on an unclassified, unauthorized personal email server to escape governmental purview of her illicit activity. It was further found that upon leaving the State Department, Hillary had not turned her email activity to the department as required by law. Vitally, however, Gowdy uncovered that top-secret information was contained throughout Clinton's archived personal emails. At this juncture, nearly all the central branches of the U.S. government, many headed by the aforementioned personalities, did everything in their power to cover for Hillary Clinton. Lois Lerner and other key players in the cover-up were exonerated. The chief architect of this process was James Comey, who conveniently became the director of the FBI a year before the Senate hearings began. The pattern here is obvious. More importantly, however, is that the incessant attacks on Trump and the attempt to compromise his presidency are all linked to the Clinton Foundation fraud, the deep state's corridors of power, and the promise made by Trump to drain the swamp. His impeachment would simply clear these nefarious political agents from prosecution, while acting as a perfect cover for the transfer of real power back into the hands of the deep state and the globalists connected to it.